We're really delighted to have Nicholas Vince here with us tonight, who played the Chatterer Cenobite in Hellraiser 1 and 2.
Yes.
Yep. And just to talk a little bit about the making of the film and sort of the legacy of Clive Barker's Hellraiser series. And we'll open this up, as usual, we'll open this up to questions in a little bit, but I'll just get the ball rolling. So first of all, how did you get involved?
I met Clive a couple of years after I attended drama school in Crouch End, a place called Mountview, where I was at school with Simon Bamford, who plays Butterball. And Simon had met Clive and was working with the Dog Company, which was Clive's fringe theatre company. And he invited me to a party, and Clive was there. And we got on very well, and I modelled for him. When they did a second edition of the Books of Blood, Clive painted the covers for the Books of Blood, and I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, bits of me are on 4 at least. My face you can see on 2, but otherwise I know that I posed for those things. Right. So, and he just asked me, would I like to be in a movie? Yes. And there's some makeup involved.
A little bit.
Yeah. He used exactly the same line on Simon Bamford as well.
So, because I remember I was doing a little bit of research to this and reading interviews with Clive Barker, and he was saying how important it was for him to have actors rather than stuntmen. So before the makeup and before the prep, how much information did he give you about the Cenobites?
How much information? Too much. There was a magazine, Piercing Quarterly. Penile bifurcation. I just want you to think about what those 2 words mean, and I will never forget the photograph. It was obviously to do with sadomasochism. He described them as priests, and the order of the gash. And Chatterer, he said, was the family dog of the Cenobites, because Chatterer is the one who's the only one who actually touches a human being. None of the others really touch Kirsty or anybody. Chatterer does them. And the original idea was that I would be like a chattering chimpanzee and leaping around the place. And I got into the costume first of all, and we discovered that when I bent down, I don't know if you can see this, guys, but when you bend your leg with your trousers, all this extra leather, fabric comes out. So I was crouching down like this. And he looked at that, he said, no, that just doesn't work. That looks like a leather costume. So you're going to stand up. Oh, okay, fair enough. And then when they put the makeup on, I couldn't really hear, speak, or see. Anyway, I could see a tiny little bit, and I was just watching it there, realizing at the very last scene, I'm kind of leading a bit like that as I walk forward. And that's because I can see out of that eye down in that direction as I'm walking forward. Obviously, I can't move my head at all, so my body's just so I can see exactly where it is I'm going. Wow. So, as somebody said the other day, an enthusiast, as Clive calls them, people who he doesn't like the word fans. So he said my performance was very meticulous, and I said, yeah, it's because I literally had to. We agreed what I was going to do, and then I just had to do it pace by pace, step by step. The whole thing with the fingers going in the mouth with Kirsty. The reason I have my hand around the back of her neck is so I know where her mouth is. Right. So so you're doing that. I only learned recently, she said I scraped the roof of her mouth with the leather gloves and so on. 25 years she doesn't tell me. But, yeah.
The process of putting that makeup on, how many pieces was it? How long?
It's one piece, actually. Right. My smart answer to the question, how long does it take to put that makeup on, is about 3 months. Once you start, actually, when you factor in having to go, you had a life cast done. This is where they put alginate, which is, see, if you've ever had cast of your teeth taken at the dentist, it's the same stuff. But they spread it all over your face, and then they put plaster of Paris around it. So that would happen about 3 or 4 months before. They also did body casts of us as well. So I had to stand like that with a couple of brooms for something like an hour whilst they covered me in cling film, and then they put again, plaster of Paris. It's the bandages that they used to make old-fashioned casts, and so on. So that's so that they could sculpt the costume to be absolutely perfect, for, as closely fitting as possible. Actually, on the day, it took about an hour to get into makeup and costume for me, because it's basically the teeth which sit on dentures attached to my teeth, so they sat outside my face. In the original screen test, or makeup test that they did, and in the original design, he's got sharp, pointed teeth, as if he's filed down, or somebody has filed down his human teeth. And Clive looked at this and he said, it looks too much like a fish. He actually now no longer looks human. So they just, as they'd obviously taken casts of my teeth, then they just made a mold of my teeth. So yeah, so it's my teeth sitting, plastic teeth, with gums sitting outside my face. Then a bald cap, and then the mask had a slit up the back. When the first entrance, as you see him from behind, as an over-the-shoulder shot behind him as he comes in, and you can see it looks as if the skin has been pulled back from the skull on the back. Well, that was because the mask had shrunk by the time they'd come to do the first day of shooting. And Clive's answer, which became the standard answer on the movie, you just fill it with blood, just put more blood in it. So that's why you get that thing, because otherwise, originally the idea was it was just a healed wound down the back. But yeah, so it just kind of goes over like a balaclava.
Cool. Well, I have other questions, but let me throw it out to the audience. Does anyone have a question to kick us off with?
The one over there.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry, changing the subject, Grassy, but I believe you were in Nightbreed as well.
I was in Nightbreed as well, yes.
So I was just reading about sort of Hellraiser and Nightbreed today, and that was kind of Hellraiser was more sort of Clive Barker's, I suppose, debut in the sort of horror world, and Nightbreed was sort of scheduled to be this kind of big, kind of grand horror. I guess the budgets of both films are quite different, so I was just interested how the production kind of differed between the two.
We filmed Hellraiser in Cricklewood, Nightbreed in Pinewood. And I was, next stop has to be Hollywood. Never quite happened, but never mind. Well, it hasn't happened yet, put it that way. My experience of Hellraiser is listening really hard and just doing as you're told. Nightbreed, obviously I could have more conversation with Clive, and he was very good at listening to people and just, taking your ideas and saying, okay, and so we discuss it. He had a clear vision of what he wanted, and he was prepared to make sure that he got what he wanted, very clear about that. And I think it shows. I just pointing out the fact, I jumped. Every time that bloody Jesus falls out the cupboard, I was even sitting there thinking, it's coming, you're going to be all right. Oh shit, it got me again. I swear it happens later on.
It was great sitting behind you, because I jumped, and I was like, well, I feel bad because I watched it this morning, but he's in it.
No, I've seen it 20-odd times, every single time. It gets me. Quick secret, in the house, the staircase, a lot of the action takes place around the staircase and on the different levels. The staircase was too simple, and and when Kirsty ran out of the house, it was taking her too little time. And so at the foot of the stairs, where they're taking the mattress up, it's got this weird thing, it kind of goes up, turns to the right, does a U-turn, turns to the left, and does that. Well, originally it was just lying like that and then that. They built the extra steps to make it more complex, so that it was going to be harder to get the mattress upstairs. It took people longer to move up and downstairs. You could actually have more dramatic stuff going on. Literally the only stuff that's filmed in the studio is the torture chamber and the landing outside. That's all the set at Cricklewood Production Village. The rest of the house is the real house in Dollars Hill.
Just bringing it back to like the costume and makeup aspect for Hellraiser.
Yeah.
I mean, your costume sounds like it took like that extra level of like meticulous detail to do.
Sure.
And I imagine all the other Cenobites had the same kind of level of prep and all that precision. Were there any malfunctions, so to speak? Any moments on set where one of the, like either yourself or any of the other Cenobites kind of had a bit of a problem?
I was talking to Ashley Lawrence And I said, you know, she said the sound that mostly came from the Cenobites and Butterball, Simon, because he also had false teeth in, was because they were held on with dentu grip, which is just, and that just makes you salivate. There was one day, and I'll tell you very quickly. One morning, I did not feel well. And when you're wearing all this stuff, you are glued in, and you know, it's difficult to breathe and so on. So the last thing you want to do is vomit. So the morning on which I was feeling really unwell and really nauseous, I told this, and Jane Wildgoose, who designed the costumes, because I always had somebody with me at all times. I had to have somebody with me, just to make sure I was still breathing, mostly. Robin Vigeon came off the set and just said, "How's Nick doing?" And Jane said, "No, he's fine. We know, you know, we're going to get if he does throw up, or he thinks he's going to throw up, we're going to get the teeth out. We're all planned." And Robin said, "No, no, no. If that happens, you've got to get him on set because Clive wants to film it." Oh, the glamour of making movies.
What do you know? How do you feel about the Hellraiser remake?
Reboot?
Yeah, reboot.
I can't tell you. I literally cannot tell you. How powerful do I feel?
But can you tell us if Clive is involved?
Yes. Clive's written the script. That's public knowledge.
Yeah.
The only things I know that I can talk about are the things that Clive's already made public, where he's going to start with Le Marchand on the island, on Devil's Island, rather than, which already it seems to me that we're going in a very different way. If you think about it, if the original book, Hellbound Heart, Kirsty is not Larry's daughter. He's a work colleague who's got a crush on him, or is falling in love with him, which I think is another. I don't know, but speaking personally, I would think that would be a really quite interesting thing to do. But that's purely my speculation. I don't know that much more, and I can't say anything else.
Even if you did?
Even if I did, and if I did, and then I'd have to kill you all. Pass me that box.
Don't let me near that box.
Ben with the camera.
This is going to be awkward. Hold on. Nightbreed. I recently watched the director's cut. I bought it from America. It was good fun to watch. You know, the old film put together as it was meant to be.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, you were there at the premiere in LA.
I was there at the premiere.
So you were there with Clive and the other guys.
Yes.
How do these guys feel? You know, from when it was released, and it was obviously the cut version that the studio brought out, to now. How does Clive feel? How do you guys feel? How does everybody feel?
I think it's taken years off Clive. Clive worked on Nightbreed for 1.5 years. Now, I mean, the whole process, you write the book, you secure significant funding, you get somebody on board, a producer who agrees with your vision. The guys from Image Animation worked on it for probably a good year, and this was the start of many careers. The great thing is I look around all the effects artists that are working in the UK today, and so many of them trace themselves back to Image Animation and Nightbreed particularly. Heart and soul, long hours, days and days of long hours, and then just somebody takes what you've produced and goes, "No, I don't like that. Now we'll just, yeah, no. Can't have monsters as good guys. Nobody will understand. Nobody will want to make it." It's a vindication, and what Clive said at the premiere in Los Angeles when I was there a couple of months ago was that it kind of restored his faith in the process of movie making. He's now interested in movies again. One of the reasons he made Hellraiser was, I remember him telling me at the time, he said, they fucked up the first 2 of his stories they did, which were Underworld and Rawhead Rex. He said, "No, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to make, I know what it is I want to do with movies and what sort of movies I want to make. I'm going to make those movies." And then he went to his local library to get the only book they had on movie making, directing a film, and it was out. So this is his story. That's why Hellraiser was so important for him. And that's Clive's movie. It is Clive Barker's Hellraiser. Clive Barker's Nightbreed that came out wasn't Clive Barker's. It was studios. It was completely. The director's cut is Clive Barker's. And he was very closely involved in the whole thing. So he's very proud of it, and so am I. Clive was my friend. I mean, you know, I knew what he was going through during the making of that. It practically killed him, all that stuff, and it really, he ended up in hospital with a hernia at one stage. But it was just obviously all part of the stress of you kind of think, good, you're going to actually lie down and sleep, and people are going to look after you, and you can't go on set for about a week or so. So now it's just a vindication. It's getting such good positive reviews. It's been bumped up, you know, the moment it came out, it was at #1 on Amazon charts and so on. Thank you so much for being so patient and listening to me talk.